amazing planner friends. It's Jess from my Magical Planner, and today I'm going to be setting up my March monthly goals. Now I'm going to be walking you through my Makselife system, starting with reflections from last month and then setting up a new monthly plan for this month. As we go along, I'll walk you through all of the reflection questions so you don't have to have the Makselife system to follow along. I've also used ChatGPT to help me come up with a couple more questions for reflections or rephrasing of some of the questions, and we'll be talking about that as well. And then we'll be going into setting this month and going through each one of the categories individually. Now, when it comes to last month, I didn't stick to my plan as much as I would have liked. I set goals, I did, but I did not do my weekly check-ins. And without the weekly check-ins, I just did not get as much done, and I don't feel like I was as consistent as I could have been. That being said, I did still accomplish some things, so we are going to acknowledge that and mark some things off. So in February, my personal goal was really to do some self-care. The daily to-do list, except for when I was sick, happened and they helped me so much. However, the break from social media, I was horrible at this. So we're going to take a different approach to that this month. As far as fun and recreation, I had my focus on family and booking that Disney World trip to go see my son perform. It is partially booked, not fully booked. So I'm going to give myself half credit there. And then for work and learning, 2 videos a week. So I did get out 2 videos a week, but I wasn't consistent. My times are off. It's very haphazardly because everything just kind of has been, it feels like, out of control this month. So I think I'm going to give myself partial credit here as well. For family relationship, I actually did really well in this area. Not that I have a bunch here. I have some other, in another location, I have all of my family members and things for them. And all of that got taken care of because that's always my first priority. As far as health and wellness, doing PT exercises at least 5 times. So I got the flu and then it took me down for like 2 weeks, I want to say. So again, half credit. The therapist stuff, that has been going well, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we're setting up goals for this month. I didn't have anything for spiritual and personal growth, so good there. Yeah, budget. I did do a little bit of restocking on staples, but not much. And I totally, didn't do this one. You may have seen the hauls. Yeah, that's a thing. As far as a safe space for my physical environment, tidy and clean has actually been pretty good. Things that make us happy, aromatherapy. So with being sick and a bunch of other people in my house getting sick, because essentially it worked through all of us, which is part of the reason why it's been so hard to get back on track. I didn't want to add any additional smells and then fear that it was going to irritate people's airways even more than they already were. So I didn't do any of that. And we've all been so run down that we haven't really had anything there other than I've been trying really hard to disinfect and that kind of thing. So that's kind of our starting point. And as you can see, I made my actions for week 1, but I never checked back in the whole month, which is really unusual for me. I just haven't been in a good mental place to be able to do that. So let's talk about monthly reflections. Our first question that Makselife asks us is my biggest wins this month. And so getting Andrew, which is my husband's employee, his glasses was really important, and we got that all settled. We got Violet, who's my oldest son's girlfriend. She moved here from Texas. She's all settled. I started an ADHD women's group therapy thing, and that's going really well. I went to my first session last week, and I'm taking steps forward as far as my health. We'll be talking a lot about that in my goal setting. And Emily's schoolwork, she had been getting behind and she needed a little bit of help getting organized and motivated to do her homework. And I think we're in a good spot there as long as we can maintain. The next question is things that are currently working in my life. I put above this what went well. That's another way of thinking of it. My daily routines. as long as I wasn't sick, went really well. Nightly check-ins with Emily. There have been some nights that we've missed out between being sick and we had some concerts and things like that. But otherwise, the nights that we check in, she just does so much better. House cleaning has done, I think, really well. And I've made a couple of minor improvements that I think are making it easier. I'm thinking I might do a video on a couple of tips of things that help me keep my house more clean and little things that help in that way. If you guys are interested in that, let me know because I think we're going to be talking about spring cleaning some this month. So we have that. And then things that are currently not working in my life, social media, between not having a consistent posting schedule and consistently getting overwhelmed by the news and everything in politics that is going on right now. I just don't know what to think of everything. And I feel like I'm powerless. And every time that I watch the news or, one of the millions of little, YouTube videos, my anxiety goes up every time. And that's interfering with my ability to do daily tasks. Not that I shouldn't be informed, but I need to figure out a better balance there. That really flows into this feeling of out of control, I think, because I can't do anything about the political stuff. Like, I casted my vote. I've let my views be known to my representative and things like that. But there's not a lot else as an individual that I can do. And so I'm trying to let go of some of that and just, we'll talk more about it. All right, so for this next session, this is where I did the most reordering or rephrasing of questions. And some of them I think I put in the wrong spots. So if you're following along in your own Makselife, these may not be in the right order. So Makselife next asked what I learned this month. I felt like I didn't really particularly learn anything this month, to be honest. So I changed that to what habits supported me and which felt like an obstacle this month. So for support, I have my daily routines because if I deviate from my routines, things don't happen and they have to happen. And so that is crucial to my life structure. And then physical therapy, which is helping a lot with pain and management of some of my body issues. Obstacles, menu planning. I noticed, especially since we all got sick, that it was harder for me to not only plan meals, but execute healthy meals. And that in turn has had a negative effect on my digestive system because it is so sensitive. So our next question is, what improvements or adjustments do I need to make going into next month? The rephrasing of this that I put is, what is one small change I could make that would have a big impact? Meal prep for week, Mondays, setting a set day to do the groceries, not just trying to like fit it in. So I have more of a schedule for that. So it's easier for me to plan around. And then the other thing I have is using my content calendar. I kind of fell off a little bit on that as well with being sick. I just was trying to shove things in more or less. So I think using that more efficiently would have helped this month run smoother. And then our next Makselife question was, what am I most grateful for right now? I think that is a really good question, but it's not where my mind was because I really needed to narrow in on what I need this next month and stuff. So, what I changed it to is, what would success look like at the end of the month? And I felt like this was really important because I get to the end of the month, and so often I feel like I haven't accomplished anything, that I'm a failure, that I can't get things done, and I get really down on myself. And I don't think I'm the only one. So, having an idea of what success looks like for the end product is really important. So this is what I said. Consistent social media post, doing PT 5 times a week, solo, because I'll be stopping the appointment physical therapy, and I will be solo. Meal prepping 3 lunches and feeling in control of my life. I don't know if that's all really possible. If I can't do all of that, I would say the PT and the meal prep would be the most important aspects. And to kind of add on to this, which I haven't done here and I'm going to do later, is how can I reward myself if I get to there? Right? Because right now I have no reward when I accomplish my goals. And I think right now, personally, I need that little carrot, for lack of a better word, at the end of the week, something to look forward to that I can get. Now, the next question that Makselife asks kind of goes with that habit question that I did up here, which is habits I want to nurture next month. So, this is looking at what habits have been really efficient and helpful overall over the last month, and what ones do I want to make sure we're doing things with to make us helpful in the coming months. And I felt like having the two was really important. So for me, logging food is going to be really important, and we'll talk a little bit more about that over here. Social media moderation, especially when it comes to news, and I do have a plan of action, hopefully, for that. The next question was areas I want to focus on next month, and I kind of changed it a little bit to what areas of life need the most attention right now, because I kind of want to focus on everything, right? But there's always one thing that it boils to the top and is like, hey, this is the most important thing right now, which for me is that health and wellness category. I really need to focus on there because I'm making some big changes right now. And so to support me in that, I need to focus there. A couple of other questions that I added in here are what challenges did I face that might have been easier with more intentional planning? Getting content out on time is a big one, and healthier food choices. I think those are definitely the biggest ones. Are there any goals I had previously that are no longer relevant or important? I thought this was a really good question. However, I'm not going to fully go into it right now. I feel like ending the quarter and then reevaluating those is a little bit better on the time scale. But so I put reevaluate at the end of the month. But spiritual and personal growth, those goals may not be as important. I may want to focus on other areas. And my money goals have shifted. And part of that is just me letting go because I have so much other stuff on my plate and letting my husband continue to take care of that. The next question I have my priorities shifted in a way that I need to acknowledge? And I think that they have. My focus at the beginning of the year was definitely more external, I would say, where since the political turmoil and everything has happened, I'm much more internally focused, as well as my focus is more on safety for my family and friends and things like that, opposed to what do I look like in making new friends. So there is some shift there. I don't know what that shift means for me in the long run. I need to give that more consideration. So down here, I just put self care, keeping people safe, and mental health are my main focus. The next question I have is what things are coming up and may require extra pre planning. Now, this is a question that I kind of think Makselife should consider adding into their monthly reflections because it's such a big part of looking forward into the month and realizing where your priorities need to be, as well as what tasks really need to happen. And it's an intricate part, at least for me, of my goal setting. So, things that I have coming up after meeting with my GI doctor this last month, like I said, we're making a bunch of changes, but I also need to do some more tests. So, I have a colonoscopy, endoscopy coming up this month. So, I need to do some prep work with that. I also will be, and I don't think I wrote it down on here, did I? Along with those I also will be meeting with a dietitian at the beginning of April to kind of help me critique my eating habits and stuff because I just need help. My diet is so restrictive that it is hard to figure out what to eat. And so I'm hoping that we can make some progress there. But in order to do that, I do need to do a food log, and that's going to be crucial. Then spring break is coming up this month. We have the Disney trip. Megan has a doctor's appointment. She's going to be talking about some hypermobility stuff with her doctor, as well as some other more chronic issues that she has, and seeing if we can address those. So I think we need to do a little bit of prep there to make sure that we go into the appointment with a list of all the things that she wants to address. Megan is my 15-year-old daughter. She just turned 15. Emily is going to be starting up therapy again. Emily is one of my autistic kids, and she has ASD level 1. And we've gone through many levels of therapy, and we're returning to one-on-one therapy to address a couple of social things and some anxiety issues and that kind of thing. So making sure that she is fully prepared for that is going to be super important. Ethan is moving out. Ethan is my oldest son. He's 20. So he's moving into his first, place by himself. Well, with his girlfriend, but whatever. And then Dan is my senior. So I have the 4 kids. And he's a senior this year, which means graduation is coming up, and making sure that we're prepared for graduation and all of that is taken care of. I don't have to worry so much about the college front because he is in a program where they will pay for another year of his college after he graduates, because he has been doing college stuff for 2 years now. And then the next question I have is, how do I want to feel at the end of the month? And this kind of goes with my question of what success looks like. But at the end of the month, realistically, I want to feel in control and safe. And then the very last question here that I wrote down was, what accountability or support do I need to follow through on my goals this month? And I put daily to-do list because that seems to be the biggest movement factor for me in getting me motivated. YouTube check-ins, like these videos are amazing for keeping me accountable. And then family support when it comes to meals specifically. That is my reflections for this last month. I know it's rather extensive, and I felt like it needed to be this month. All right, now that we've gone ahead and done all of our reflections, let's go ahead and set our monthly goals in each of the Makselife categories. I'm just going to run through them real quick in case you're unfamiliar. So there's personal, fun and recreation, work and learning, family and relationship, health and wellness, spiritual and personal growth, financial and physical environment. It's a very nice breakdown of everything. However, I am going to be making some changes to break one of them down and not worry about some of the other ones, just as an FYI. For personal, this is things like self-image, self-worth, confidence, sense of community, support, alone time, creativity. Those type of things are what fall in this category. So for me, I do have 3 that I want to do, and I'm not sure what to put as my focus, honestly. So I'm just going to put what I want to do there. So for the first one, I'm going to put limit political exposure / news. And now that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be informed or anything like that. What I am going to do is I'm going to limit myself to 15 minutes of video, and I'm going to do one summary, because I don't know if you knew you could do this, but I can have ChatGPT. I can tell it to go out and look at all of the news for the day and then give me a summary. And I can tell it to look at both political aspects and just give me the facts so that I can see what's going on. And I feel like right now that is a better way for me to do it and get my facts, although I don't completely trust AI to make sure it gives me everything. That's why I want to do both. But I feel like the combination of the two is it's going to give me all the info I need, but I'm not going to get drawn into that spiral because I don't know about anybody else, but I watch one bad thing that happens and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to learn more about this. And I watch everybody else's coverage of the same bad thing. And I don't know that that's healthy. Matter of fact, my psychologist has said it's not. So we're going to try and be informed, but also maintain a barrier or a boundary there. The next thing I want to do, and this is going to sound really silly, but wear bright red lipstick. So this actually is a political thing as well. It's coming back, I think, a little bit. It stems from World War II and resistance and unity against Hitler. And even though I know Trump is not Hitler, just for full disclosure, I am not a big fan of him and some of the things that he is currently doing. And a thing that a lot of women have started doing, I've been seeing it on TikTok quite a bit, is this movement to wear red lipstick. They also used it a lot in women's rights movements and things like that. So I actually went out and bought a tube of red lipstick. I'm not a big makeup person, but I'm trying to wear it at least once a week. I don't leave my house a ton, so it's not too hard. I know that sounds silly, but it makes me feel like I'm doing one thing. I'm adding my support and backing to something, and I'm not just hiding it away in a corner, if that makes sense. And I'm not hurting anybody by wearing red lipstick, right? So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to start working in my calligraphy workbook. So if you've been around for a while, for Christmas for myself, I bought myself a calligraphy workbook. I had planned on starting it in January. That didn't happen, and February was its own thing. So I want to do that as a form of self-care for myself. Also, the one that I got, which I will link up here, the video of me unboxing it, but that particular one is focused on, I think it's calm and peace. So I think the words that you're choosing to write also have some kind of effect. And it's going to be kind of my form of meditation, I think, is trying to do that once a day. I don't know if I'm going to get it in daily, but I'm going to try. As far as fun and recreation, my focus is actually going to be on that Disney trip. So we've booked a room, but that's it. So we still need to do a few things, like book plane tickets. I think part of that has been all the aviation stuff going on, and my anxiety around planes right now has been really high. So book our plane tickets, and well, I have an annual pass. My kids do not, so buying 2 kids tickets and the Lightning Lane passes. And then I will need to book parks. And I guess we'll put it as its own thing because it doesn't really take a lot of time, but booking those Lightning Lanes, because you can now book them in advance. So we'll attempt to do that. For work and learning, I think my focus is going to be on a consistent schedule. So I think new two. I'm not sure if I have a third one or not. I'm thinking. So the first thing is to plan out each week and to daily to-do list. And then the second one is to make a decision and I'll need to do this first, is to just officially make a decision on my posting schedule and just stick with it. I like to do 3 videos a week at a minimum, but I have a lot of content I want to get out too, so I don't know. But we're going to try and stick to that. So there's that. As far as family and relationship, I think I'm going to have a dot for each one of my family members. So I'll do the kids first. So for Ethan, we're going to say moving help. So he's going to need help with cleaning and moving. And then I'm also, maybe I put these, I don't know. Let's put them in boxes. That's what I'll do. So that I know that there's extra parts to this, because there are. So he needs moving help, and then I'm going to do some decluttering, especially with kitchen items, and declutter for him, I guess that's what I'm going to say. So like we've got a couch in our basement, and I'm like, take the couch. You know, we don't need a basement couch. Matter of fact, I would love to get a new Costco couch, but we'll see. And then the one from upstairs moves downstairs. It's a whole system, right? For Dan, who's my senior, I'm going to say grad prep. And for him, we need to make sure we have cap and gown. So, and I need to order the tassel. And then schedule grad party. Because I need to get all those things done. They're just on the calendar. Like the cap and gown, I have it as separate from the tassel because he's the same height and build as my older son. So I'm like, we can reuse the cap and gown. We'll just get a new tassel. So he found the cap, or no, he found the gown, and we need to locate the cap. And if not, I'll just order a new one. It's not a big deal. But if we have it, I'd rather reuse it. Megan is her prep for doctor. So we need a list of things to go over. And then any follow-up care. I have a suspicion we're going back to PT for her, which is fine. We have done PT in the past, and we will do PT in the future, I'm sure. And then Emily, she's also taking driver's ed, but I'm not going to worry about that. This is more important. So for Emily, I'm just going to put school here. So after school homework. And then I'm also going to put therapy and school support. because I am looking at maybe getting her reevaluated, because currently she has no school supports. They wouldn't give us anything, which is very typical of ASD level 1, because a lot of times these aren't the disruptive kids or anything like that. And she doesn't need a ton of help. Like, we've done speech therapy on our own, we've done some other things, but she has some trouble breaking things down. And because she's a very black and white thinker, sometimes the directions are not clear to her. And so I think I might meet with her teachers again and see what we can do there, and figure out if we need to get the school to reevaluate her and what we can do to help her out. I think mostly having something like a study hall where there's a teacher there to kind of go over, and knowing that she needs them to do that because of her anxiety, she may not. And I think with all of the stuff my kids need this month, my husband is important too, but it's a different type of important, if that makes sense. So my husband's name is Jared. And yes, I do have a husband, despite the fact that I don't wear a ring. It just doesn't fit, and I haven't replaced it. And so here we are. But I think date night is probably the biggest thing he needs this month. I might end up adding more to this if it comes up, but that's where we are for that. Now, for health and wellness, I am going to split this one up. I am going to have physical health, and then instead of spiritual and personal growth, we're going to do mental health there. So I'm going to say physical here and mental here. So for physical, whoops, wrong side. So for physical health, we might need a fourth one, we'll see. Yeah, we do. I need to do a food log, because when I go in April, I need to be able to have my food log. These are the foods I'm eating. These are the results of those food and symptom. Five times a week with PT exercises. And then I need to fill out paperwork for medical tests, I'll say. And all the prep stuff I need to do for that. And I also need to be tracking new meds. That kind of goes with the symptoms. It's a little challenging because we are changing meds. I changed them last week for my GERD stuff, and seeing how much better it gets or doesn't get. So we'll try that. Last week was a little rough. I won't lie. But it is what it is. For mental health, I think I'm only going to put one here. And that's going to be my ADHD group. Well, I guess there's two. And then I need to be doing my journaling associated with this group, because there are some things that we talk about, and it'd be really good for me to, before and after, kind of continue that thought process, because you only have so much time in a group, and hearing other people's perspectives is so helpful. Finance, I'm not going to worry about it. It's just, we're going to skip it. For physical environment, though, we're going to have a couple of things. And I think our focus is kind of going to be on spring cleaning. So I want to declutter and gift appropriately. Things to Ethan. And this will be a, I go through the cover. We have too many mugs. Here's some mugs kind of deal. And I've already told him and made it very clear. I'm like, you don't have to take any of this. You're giving me motivation to go through these things and take what will be useful. The rest I'm going to donate, essentially. So I want to do some decluttering. So we have what we call the hangout room downstairs, and Ethan is going to be taking a lot of the things out of there. So we're going to reset it up. My Megan is going to move down there and have it as her hangout space now, which is fairly, simple. And making sure that that space works for her. She does some VR, and having a space to do her VR, I think, will be really helpful. Without it, there's less tripping hazards. We'll just put it that way. So setting that up for her and then starting cleaning. And I'm not sure what that's exactly going to look like. But we're going to start it. I've made a list. I just need to figure out where, maybe I'll start with some of the smaller rooms this month, and then we'll tackle bigger rooms either at the end of the month, beginning of next month. I do have them home for spring break. And currently we don't have any plans, so maybe that's when that's going to happen. But anyhow, that is the overall reset, replan for this month. Hopefully it'll go well and we'll stay on task. I'm hoping to get the weekly action video up maybe tomorrow. We'll see. It just depends on how things go. So anyhow, that is everything for today. I hope it was helpful for you guys. I'd love to hear what goals you're setting this month. What is your priority? Are you doing okay? With the political environment and everything, is it impacting your goal setting as well? Or is it just me? Anyhow, let me know down below. And until next time, I'll see you real soon.